I can remember back when I was a child that, we used to get, this land used to be covered in long grass every summer, and we used to have more feed than ever. But what's really happened is that there's just less rain at the end of the day, and we can't grow feed without rain in a dryland situation, and that's why there's this, people become passionate about irrigation.
Mark Zino and his family live on their 900-hectare farm near the tiny town of Hurunui in North Canterbury. Mark and his brother run a breeding finishing operation of cattle, sheep and deer.
Well, my father bought this farm in 1966, and then unfortunately he died in 94, and then I've been running, and my brother have been running it ever since. But since then, the sort of the profitability aspect or the sustainability aspect of dryland farming has sort of gone out the window, really.
Family farmers like the Zinos are supporting the Hurunui Water Project, which proposes to store water in the south branch of the Hurunui River and at Lake Sumner. The scheme could irrigate 42,000 hectares of land, enough, local farmers say, to keep them afloat.
We're struggling to make ends meet pretty much every year, and in the last 10 years of farming we've probably only had 1, maybe 2 good years, and that's your catch-up time, and then you're back to good old Joe average farming returns.
The Zinos are lucky enough to have access to some water from the Waitohi River, but only enough to irrigate 10% of their farm. Part of the irrigated land is used to grow kale for stock food. Only 100 metres away, another field of kale is growing.
The only difference between this crop and the one that we've seen is the lack of water. The plant species is exactly the same. It's had exactly the same inputs in terms of fertiliser and nitrogen and sprays to keep bugs off. The reason this hasn't grown this high is because there's no water.
Rural life is about community, and around Hurunui, that community's close.
Yeah, we can put that in there. I travelled all the way around the world, went to 36 countries, came home, married the neighbour. Damn rednecks.
Community is very important to them, and the farmers here believe the stored water will rejuvenate more than just the pastures.
20 years ago, Hardin had a post office,
3 garages,
2 engineering shops. It had a farmer's, general store and a pub, and a strong rugby club.
That strong rugby club had 10 teams when Mark was growing up, but now they can only field 3.
In terms of the community, there's a whole lot of people that have just disappeared, and they've gone to Christchurch to seek a better life. Yeah, and I guess it all comes back to the fact that the depopulation of the area is coming from the lack of jobs available in the area, and we can use a water storage project to increase the employment opportunities, which will keep those young families here, and then it'll build up the community spirit rather than those people just leaving and taking away from the community.
Hurunai's population has decreased 20% in less than 20 years. The Zinos are witnessing firsthand the financial struggle dryland farmers are facing.
Borrowing to stay afloat has been pretty standard. If you talk to your local farm accountant, he'll say that farm debt is ballooning, and that's not because of conversion to dairy, that's because the dryland sector just can't make enough money to meet its cost of production. So we've just had to borrow money to stay afloat, to keep our equity position the same. And that, and in any situation, that's not a good long-term thing, is it?
The proposal to dam the Hurunui does predictably have its opponents though. Organisations such as Fish and Game, Forest and Bird, as well as kayakers, are all objecting about the loss of their recreational opportunities.
A lot of the negatives aren't even coming from our area, they're coming from Christchurch and the people that may come one day in 6 months. Whereas we're living here every day. We see it every day, the drought, the, hungry sheep, no grass. We have got a beautiful landscape, but You know, at the end of the day, productivity's important to us, you know, to keep us here.
My income comes from the land. I'm a farmer and I'm going to pass it on to the next generation. Why would I want to trash the environment? At the end of the day, it's how I make my money. So I'm an environmentalist as much as they are.
3 kilometres down the road, fourth-generation farmer Tom Costello runs sheep and cows on the 400 hectares that have been in his family since 1915. Like the Zinos, Tom believes the water project will allow his son better farming opportunities.
That the potential would be quite high, and as I understand the economic benefits of doing something like this, 3/4 of the gain goes to the community outside the farms. So we just think it would be great for Hurunui and for Canterbury.
Tom's love of the river doesn't just come from the need for irrigation. He's an avid jet boater and understands the desire to retain the wild river, but he also sees new opportunities.
We've only been boating in recent years, but we really enjoy that part of the river that we use, and so I will certainly be making sure if we have any opportunity to leave it as good as we can.
Most of the recreational use is on the main Hurunui River and the North Branch, and not on the low-levelled South Branch. The dam on the South Branch would claim about 7 kilometres of that valley and create a new lake in the process. It could also offer the option of boosting the normally low summer river flows.
It might be possible, depending on what water's in storage, to at the weekends let the river run at 30, or you know, work it out with the local clubs.
At the end of the day, both Tom and Mark are unlikely to see the benefits the water project will have on their farms and income, but that's not why they're supporting it.
Well, I'd like to see my children farming here and farming successfully, you know, and I mean there's always going to be ups and downs with the markets and that, but if the, you know, irrigation side of it can be a little bit more knowing, you know where you stand, well, you know, hopefully that'll help them to be successful.
It'll give them opportunities at the end of the day. It'll allow them to use this land to do a whole lot of different things, and that's where the future is. It's not in doing one thing really well. It's being able to have opportunities to change and move with the times. Why do I want it to go through? And a very short answer. So that my sons can stay on the land, pretty much. That's the answer.